Hello, and welcome to The Climb, the Confident Leader podcast, where we share stories of leaders moving from invisible to becoming an influencer. I am your host, Rahul Karan Sharma, and I have another amazing guest who is a veteran in coaching professionals who are unfulfilled by their careers. Someone who want to identify how to tap into their unique potential. Our guest, after working with 15 years in the marketing brands, 10 years helping startup founders, and 5 years as a therapist, she has helped hundreds of people to reinvent themselves and their careers. Currently, she focuses all her time and energy on helping high performing professionals go from high pay, miserable, and unhealthy careers to apply their gifts and talents in ways that generate great income by aligning with their values and purpose. Well, ladies and gentlemen, please put your hand together for one and only Rachel Spekman to our Climb Confident Leader podcast. Welcome, Rachel. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for having me. We always, no matter who we are, I think when we hear our bio as an intro, it's like, oh my gosh, that's me. Wow, thank you. Thank
Yes,
you.
yes. Sometimes we don't realize the our own accomplishment.
hmm
We take it very lightly. But I agree. When you hear someone else talking about it, it's a very proud moment. And we should also give ourselves pat on the back of the great work that we have done. So thank you, Rachel. And when I was going through your bio and when we were having our conversation earlier as well, what you are doing, in my opinion, is a very noble cause. And the way I say that, someone who is stuck in a job where they have to push themselves,
hmm
it is, in the way I look at it, it is a lose-lose situation. Lose for themselves because they are not unleashing their true potential, and lose for their employer because they are not getting the best out of that individual. And towards the end, it is also a loss for the family and friends with whom they are revolving, because energy is contagious. So if they are not having a high energy, definitely it will have an impact. So uh, I'm curious to know what transpired in your career that you moved from what you were doing earlier to what you are doing today.
hmm
Please enlighten us with your leadership journey, Rachel.
Yeah. So my leadership journey, I'm actually going to say it started all the way back in high school. I was not a person who thought of myself as a leader. And my guidance counselor, of all people, said, there's an opportunity for one student to represent our school, and we think you would be that student. And I said,
Hmm.
me? You must have called the wrong person. And I say this because it truly was one of those moments where I stepped into a room more fully, and I think that kicked off this ability to take myself seriously, to sit up straight, and now to help others do that. I just left a coaching session this morning where a client said, I'm ready to take up more space at the table. I'm ready to stop
Hmm.
hiding behind who I am.
Mm.
For me personally, I started my career in education because I thought that that's how I wanted to transform the world, was through children and school leadership. And I quickly learned, well, it took about 7 years, but now looking back quickly, that while I loved kids, school leadership was not the right fit for me. And what I did was I pivoted to the nonprofit world. And in the nonprofit world, I got much more engaged in project management and operations and budgeting, um, and from there I pivoted to the professional world. And I was at marketing companies and startups, and I was helping founders get their vision started. And sort of from that moment, I realized, wow, I love working with people. I love working with them and their companies. What I started to feel is that I didn't know what they personally were struggling with and how that was affecting the business.
Mm.
And while all of this was happening, I myself ended up on a fairly long, arduous family planning journey to have my two children. And when I did finally return to work after my now 7-year-old son was born, I said, something is missing here. I'm helping all these companies grow, but I'm actually feeling disconnected. And I took a long, hard look at myself, worked with my own coach, and said, when I sit down with a company, I actually care more about how they're doing, or I care equally about how they're doing as in addition to how the numbers of their company are doing.
Mm,
And that was when I actually returned to a long calling of mine from childhood, which was to become a therapist.
mm,
And now I'm a therapist and a coach. And as a coach, I really do work with people in the corporate world who are, as the intro said, burnt out, frustrated, not aligned, bringing all of that energy home. It's affecting their mental health to say, okay, what do we keep? What do we shelve? What do we get rid of? How do we tap into most people who come to me kind of are like, how did I end up here? Right? Almost like
mhm.
they're on a flight. They're like, where is this flight going?
Yeah,
I want to
yeah.
get off of it. But
Mhm.
I can't just jump. Of course, I have a family, I have bills, I have a mortgage. And so together we identify what they're passionate about, what skills they most enjoy using, what problems they want to be solving, and how what I call how to reverse engineer their career search to match them, not the other way around.
All right, that's a great journey of yours and how you pivoted from what you were doing and now what you are doing. So, thank you for sharing that insight. Now, I'm sure, Rachel, what you are doing today and what you were doing earlier, that pivot would not be very straightforward. It would not be that, okay, you decided one night and then next day you started doing what you wanted to do. It would have had their own fair share of challenges, those mindset shift. So, what kind of mindset shift you had to go through to move from what you were doing, where you were getting very comfortable with the paycheck, very comfortable with the environment, but something was bothering you, and what you need to do to really move to the next level?
Yeah, that's the first key that I do with everyone I work with, which is a mindset shift. No,
Mhm.
my change took about a year and a half, honestly. I mean, to the outside eye, it might have looked like, "What are you doing? Oh, you what an impulsive choice." Absolutely not. For me, I was sitting on it. I met with 45 professionals in the mental health space to understand as much about the industry as I could. I made a 5-year financial plan with my financial planner to get my salary back up ultimately. So I don't recommend anyone makes an impulsive choice. In fact, we have to sit with what I call the asymmetry. I'm presenting one way, or my career looks a certain way, but it feels differently. And for some people, they can withstand it feeling differently for a long time. For many people I work with, they want an exit strategy. And so we identify it could be like literally when your stocks are going to vest, when your kids go to college, uh, whatever the case is, everybody has their own circumstances. When are we go some people are working towards sabbaticals, of course, all kinds of things like that. What is our timeline and what are we going to do next?
Mhm. Mhm.
And I would say many people I work with, when we go through the mindset shift there are to answer your question before I get to the kind of the outcomes that we achieve. The mindset shift is two-part really. The first part is almost like I joked at the beginning. People say, "Am I a high performing professional?" And they'll send me their resume, or well, you're managing a $6 million budget and a staff of 30, so I would say you're pretty high performing, but you need to know that you're high performing. So it's first of all comfort with your own career journey, and second, it's actually permission giving. Giving yourself permission to want more, to want something different, to take a risk, to understand that uncertainty does not mean um, debt and misery and isolation. It actually means, okay, there's something else waiting for you, and we're going to figure out what that is together.
Mhm. Yeah, I think that's a very important point that you're bringing up. One is sometimes we don't realize what we are worth of. For us, that the way we are doing our work, which could be a piece of cake for you, but it could be something very, very critical for someone else.
Mhm.
They would really see that as a skill, which could be very easy for you. That comes naturally to you. So just because it is coming naturally to you, it's easy for you, does not mean that it is easy for everyone. So, Rachel, the point that you are bringing is realize your true worth. And second, as you rightly mentioned, that it's not when you are going to an unknown territory, it will always be dark.
Mhm.
It will always be a negative aspect only. Well, if that has been your experience, probably you were not having a coach or a guide like Rachel to show you that ray of hope, to show you that light, because it is always, grass looks greener on the other side. We always say that, take that ownership, and then you will do wonders. You will do great, but you need to take that ownership. You need to take that initiative. So thank you, Rachel, for bringing those pointers of the what kind of mindset shift. Now, I also hear that many of our high performing professionals, they get stuck in spite of being very persistent, in spite of being a high performer. So, in your experience, when you are speaking with so many high performers, Rachel, why you think that happens? Why they get stuck, and what are some of the shift they need to make to really rebuild their own confidence? Any experience of yours that you want to share with our listeners?
Yes, I think, or I've observed for myself and for others, probably the largest one is the ego.
Mm,
I should get the director next. I should get the VP title next.
mhm,
And uh and then I'll say, "Well, do you actually want that role?" "Well, no, but I want that title, or I deserve that." Right? Or sometimes I do want that title. And then it's unpacking, well, why didn't they get it? And so I think the ego, as I like to joke with people, the ego goes on a journey just in life. And
mhm,
and
correct.
definitely when we're kind of called to something else professionally. Uh and we can ignore the call for a long time. It's just when it
Mhm,
starts to catch up with us and we start to have Sunday scaries on Monday and Tuesday and Wednesday. And I do joke often with people because most people find me when they're, I say, in 20 to 40% happiness in their current role. It's a pretty low number.
mhm, mhm.
And
Yeah.
I explain, as to use your words, I try to provide hope that our goal is to get to 80% happiness. And people think, oh my gosh, that's so idealistic. That's so wild. Nobody can be at 80%. Well, we're not going to go from 20% happiness to 80% tomorrow.
Mhm,
We're going to start recognizing, how did we get to 20%? Presumably, at some point, we were at 80% or higher than 20. How do we sort of, quote, get back there or move forwards towards there?
mhm,
And that's when we can really start to get much more micro. And this is where I would say, really, my skills as a therapist do help out instrumentally here, which is the devil's in the details, right? And so, are you
mhm,
more alive in a room full of people or solo? Are you more alive when you're leading a project, or you're the second person in command? Are
mhm,
you more so really starting to understand what have been your most proud career moments and what internally was happening for you at that moment? Because especially if you have small children and you're listening, like I have a 7 and a 3-year-old, and I'm because I have worked with children, I understand we are trying to get them to own being proud of themselves. Look at this art that I made. Look at this thing. And then as adults, we can lose that very quickly.
mhm,
Oh, I just did that thing. I just led that meeting. No, you led a meeting. You led people to a decision. You got in front of a room. So we want to bring in that curiosity, that cultivation quality. I get curious about what
mhm,
we're internally proud of. So I would say the ego goes on a journey, and I would say the second is fear.
mm.
I mean,
Yeah,
fear is
yeah.
probably number one. Fear of the unknown, fear of what the spouse is going to say. Right?
Mhm,
For me, I was so fearful of what my greater professional community would say. I'm leaving this sort of venture capital forward job for becoming a social worker. I mean, it was like,
yeah.
and it was the kind of thing where it's a very private journey. And so you really
Mm,
have to bring in people that you trust, that kind of can understand.
sure, sure.
Yeah.
So, what Rachel is bringing up, amazing point that when you started your own journey, I'm sure from day one, you would not be miserable. You were excited, you were happy with that first job or first career of yours. And over a period of time, things happen, people that you work with, company you work with, and that's where your mojo start going to go down.
Mhm.
So now let's say if you're at low level, it will not jump overnight because it did not came down overnight. It came down over a period of time. So similarly, for your mojo to go up,
Mhm.
for your confidence to go up, it will not happen overnight. You need to take those consistent, small changes in your life that will rebuild that confidence of yours. So thank you, Rachel, for bringing that up. And Rachel, when I was doing my own research about the work that you do, um, I learned that there is a specific phrase that you use, which is reverse engineering uh, your job search or reverse engineer your job search. What does that mean, and how can that process or that phrase can build the confidence when you know that things are not working out for you, when you know that grass is not greener on the other side? So, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah. So reverse engineering your job search essentially means understanding who you are, what, to use your words, what lights up your career mojo or turns you on in your career or gets you excited.
Mm,
And that really, again, is the overlap often of the problems you want to solve, the skills you want to be using and getting better at, and the values that you have working in a value aligned environment or with a value aligned boss or team.
mhm, mhm,
Those are the three pillars that I use with clients to help reverse engineer their job search. So they can, what we do together is we create a professional mission statement.
mm,
So every company has its own mission statement. We do this by doing this to help
mm,
this person.
mm,
I do this with my clients to say, I use these skills in this setting to help these kinds of teams or these kinds of individuals.
mhm,
Instead of, let me apply to every project management role, let me apply to everything. It's, hold on, does that actually fit the problems that are going to light me up, the skills I want to be using? So another coach uses the term job shopping. I like to use
mm,
reverse engineering because
mm,
if you think about almost like designing your dream car or your dream house or your dream partner as much as you can, we want to say from the beginning, and I do marital counseling too, does this person have the same values you do? You want
mhm,
children, they don't. Okay, we're going to have to cross that. Okay, this job wants to go public. You want to be at a private company. Let's identify that from the very beginning.
mm.
Because my
Yeah.
my what I don't want to do with people is have them go out of the fryer and into the pan.
Correct. And I think you're bringing a good point, Rachel, that most of us, we always look for that corner office, that high paying job, that companies with perks, rather than realizing what do we like to do, what do we enjoy doing. And I think the process that you are explaining, which is that reverse engineering, is exactly knowing yourself first. Be self-aware of your own self,
Mhm.
so that you can take that action, uh, which will help you in designing your career, designing your life the way you want it. Don't let it go by someone else design. Don't give destiny of your life in someone else's hand. You are the chauffeur of your own journey. So take those action and take those inputs very, very wisely. I'm sorry, you were saying something.
Nope, I'm good.
Okay. All right. All right. And then when someone is stuck, as we were talking earlier, um, what action do you suggest to those guests of yours or those client of yours
Mhm,
uh, who who are already in low in their career, low in their life?
mhm.
Uh, what action you suggest to rebuild their own self belief, rebuild their own momentum?
So one of the first things I have everyone do is create what I call an internal wins resume. This is not the resume you're putting on LinkedIn necessarily. It might be, but this is what have been the most proud moments in your career that nobody else knows about, and what were you actually proud of? So moving to a new city, leading a team in a different way, just how do you kind of get back to those confidence building muscles?
Mhm.
Because we want to identify taking a risk, which we've all done with positivity as opposed to fear and negativity.
Mm.
And so for anyone who's listening, do an internal wins resume. You will not regret it. You can send it to me. I'm happy to review it with you. That's the first thing I do. The second thing is some of it is visioning, like what is your most ideal day? Uh,
Mhm.
if you look back at the last 48 to 72 hours, what have been the things you've been most proud of? And that includes what teams were you on? What most people are like, oh, I just email all day. Okay, well, what's the content of the email? What problem are you solving?
Mhm.
Are you having fun? I mean, truly, are you having fun?
Yeah, yeah.
People are like, "Am I allowed to?" Yes, you are, right? And for a lot of people, it's not. That's the other thing. I think our jobs have become such a large part of our identity. We do have to figure out what are you doing besides the work to kind of light you up as well. So
Mhm.
I do work with people on sort of the whole spectrum, but really with the job at the core.
Wow. Wow.
Um,
I think when you were mentioning these things, the Win resume, I my first job when I came here in the country as a student was at a career services, and as that job, my job duties were to review the resume, critique the resume of students, and the way so you termed this very well, internal Win resume. What I used to do is I used to ask them to write all the things that you have done in that job, because typically we are not a resume writers by birth. Neither the interviewer is a resume reviewer. I mean, they're just doing it because they had to do it. So sometimes when we had to put things on our resume, we just make a choice. Oh, this would be good. Oh, this is not good. My request and my suggestion was that you don't become that judge. What is good, what is not good. First of all, you write down any and every small thing that you have done that you are proud of,
Mhm.
and then look at it from that action verb perspective, because most of the interviewers, they want to see the action on your resume. They don't want to just read the fairy tale on your resume. So thank you for bringing that up. The another it was not back then, but in my today's coaching, Rachel, one of the exercise which I request my audience to do is connect with 5 people that they trust
Mhm.
and ask them when have they seen them working at their best, and two, when what work have they been doing when they have lost track of time, because when we lose track of time, this is what you like it, you love it.
Yes, that is the best, and what you're saying is I do this a little bit later, but I call it, "Who are your professional crushes?" I teach at the university, as well here, and so it kinda speaks to anybody hopefully having a crush, but definitely
Right.
to this audience, and then I
Mhm.
say, "Who are your company crushes? What are some companies that are doing cool things?" And just like a crush, like, "Oh, why are you drawn to them?" "Oh, because they're doing sustainability. Because they have really creative social media. Oh, because whatever the case is." And all of a sudden, it's, "Yeah, I kinda have a crush on that job. What about me?" Right? And then all of a sudden, you're following a different thread. I mean, I don't know if you know the history of the resume, and it's very interesting, but this
Mhm.
whole idea of, like, putting who we are on one sheet of paper is such a I don't know, it's such a myopic way of looking at our lives.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely, and I agree with that. That's where I think in last couple of years I have seen people creating video resume, so that at least your personality is coming up,
Yeah,
because most of the employers are vetting the resume through an AI bot,
yeah.
uh, who is not empathetic, who is not that able to really distinguish between someone who has a great personality and someone who has not. So,
Mhm, mhm.
and personality plays a huge role in any career, and that aspect is being missed whenever the resumes are being critiqued or
Yes.
vetted through ADS. So,
Yes, and I do ADS prep, if automatic tracking, whatever the word is,
right.
software. Another tool, another skill I wanna recommend to people is I call this the dinner party conversation. What
Hmm. Mm.
What dinner party conversations are you drawn to naturally? Oh, I
Mm.
love talking about politics. Oh, I love talking about biking. I'm just giving you a few of the ones
Mhm.
that I'm
Yeah,
working on
yeah.
with people. No, it doesn't mean you're gonna have a career in it necessarily.
Mm.
But again, it's
Mhm.
just more into that expansion. What are you drawn towards and why?
Correct.
Is there something there? Okay. Oh, I love biking because I love thinking about and there's so many problems to be solved in the world and so many. I mean, this is
Mhm.
what makes the world go round. And so when we're working towards something that's bigger than ourselves, this gets into another kind of adage that I like to use from the book called Meaningful Work, which is
Mhm.
when you look back at your list of internal resume wins, I want you to then go through it again and say, but do the second, what kind of community was I in?
Mhm.
What kind of challenge was I working on? And what kind of contribution was I making?
Mm.
When we can align with our 3 C's, community, contribution, and challenge.
Mm. Very good. So you are saying these are the three C's of making an impact, or I mean, you used a term, I missed it.
These are the 3 C's where we can start to see what are the themes of your wins.
Wins. Got it.
So,
Got
for
it.
example, okay, one of the themes I'm kind of going to use this of the client I was working with this morning. One of his wins was he felt like he was contributing to the company's bottom line, and then he got recognition from the CEO. Okay, that was his contribution. Financial analysis, wonderful. Or my community that I've most been drawn to are intellectual thinkers
Mm.
and people who want to take risks and build things together. That's the community I'm drawn to.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, I think that's great. That's a really good way to look at how you are truly contributing. And sometimes you may think that you are contributing here, but in reality, it is something else. So it's a good analysis of your own contribution or on your own goodwill.
And wait, I want to circle back to something you said at the very beginning that I meant to
Mhm.
respond to, but here it is, which is you said it's a long day. If it's a very hard day, I call it a good hard. So especially for those who exercise, who work out, maybe you can see I have my spin bike behind me. I'm working out. It's like it's a good hard. I know I'm getting stronger from it. So what are the things in your career that feel like good hards? Like it's hard, but you're growing from it.
Yeah. Wow. Good heart. That's another golden nugget dropped in by Rachel. Good heart. Amazing. I want to segue in to another piece where I want my audience to learn more about you, your work. One of the things that you that is on your website, Rachel, is your high stakes career audit. Uh, can you enlighten us with what this audit means and how does it help people break free from frustration and gain clarity?
Yeah. So what I've observed is some people want to work with a coach and they say, let's do it. And it's going to take me 6 months. And I'm like, yes, we're going to, that's generally how long it takes. I would say 4 to 6 months to get unstuck and to have a guide helping you. Very often I kick off our work together with what's called a high stakes career audit. It's 90 minutes. It's almost like a financial audit. If you were meeting with a financial planner, you would pull all of your tax forms, all kinds of materials together. I have you do all of that,
Okay.
especially for those who are in a job search right now or who have been applying. We look at where you've been applying, the titles, the response rate, your resume. We look at your LinkedIn. So we do I do a full audit in advance.
Mm.
And then we use those 90 minutes to understand what your mission is, your professional mission right now, what are actual opportunities available to you in the next 3 to 6 months, uh, and how do we get your assets in a better place
Mm.
to tell your story. So it is a quick hit of kind of what it might be to work together. And also it gives you, again, just like a financial planner, a real, okay, here's where my retirement is. If I've stopped working today, here's where my resume is compared to the rest of the market, those kinds of things.
Mm. Wow. So listeners, if you are in that journey of career transition from one place to another, would recommend looking at this high stake career audit and take help from Rachel to really gain that clarity in what actually you are looking for. Uh, to avoid that costly mistake that you have been doing in the past by uh, getting a job which is high paying but not fulfilling. So don't do that mistake. Get that audit done, and I'm very confident that it will be fruitful for you, and you will thank her uh, after you're done with that audit. Great. Rachel, when if our listeners are really curious and they just want to connect with you, learn more about you and your work, how they can connect with you? What is their best way to reach to you?
Okay. Before I tell you that, I want to answer some. I don't think I've talked about the outcomes that you get from working with me because it sounds probably like,
Sure.
oh, we're doing a lot of work and we're doing this, and there are generally one of three outcomes that people get from working together. The
Okay.
first is they repivot where they are, so they say, "I'm actually at the right company, but I'm on the wrong team."
Mm,
Or actually, I wanna be it depends on the size of the company, but you repivot yourself internally. The second is you say, "I am gonna go fractional. I don't necessarily want to do what I'm doing for one company. I wanna help be the CFO at multiple companies."
mm,
Um, that happens quite often, especially in sort of like, the consulting world that I play in, if you will. And the third is people make a pivot entirely. They say, "Actually, I wanna start something new. I wanna start a new degree. I wanna open a new business entirely."
mm.
But again, it's with that sense of clarity of, "This is why I'm doing this. This is what I'm walking away from. This is what has not been serving me." And so I am very outcome oriented to say, "Yes, we're gonna have to go through our mindset shift and our
Mm.
audit and all the clarity." At the end of the day, it's for you to be not at 20% happiness, but to be
Sure.
much higher than that. You can
Sure.
find out more about me at madeformorecoach.com, and I have trainings on my website. I have the audit. You can book a time with me, madeformorecoach.com.
All right. We will include your website on the show notes, so it's easy for our listeners to connect with you, Rachel. Rachel, thank you for sharing your insights and being with us. Now we are moving to our next segment, which is the rapid fire round,
Okay.
where there will be 5 questions coming your way, and our listeners would want to know more about you as a person.
I'm
Okay,
ready.
awesome. So the first one, a quotation you live by.
It's not the years in your life that matter, but the life in your years.
Very deep.
I think it was Abraham Lincoln. It was actually my senior year of high school yearbook quote. Again, it's not the years in your life, but the life in your years that counts.
Are you a morning person or a night owl?
I am naturally a night owl, but I have
Mhm.
had to train myself because my kids wake up at 5:30 every morning to be a morning person,
Okay. All right. What's one daily routine you never skip?
working out.
What's one leadership skill you wish someone would have taught you earlier?
How the person is doing is generally going to reflect how they contribute to the job itself. There is a high correlation.
Okay. And finally, if your career were a Netflix series, what would be the title of season one be?
Season 1. Oh, I like that question a lot. What would season 1 be? I'm a writer as well. I love writing. It would be called Boston Baby.
Boston, baby.
Okay,
All
'cause
right.
and I moved to Boston when I first graduated college, and that's really where my career was. All of a sudden, I was living in a city. I'd never lived in a city, but it would be called Boston Baby, and I would have a guitar on my back 'cause I took guitar lessons.
Interesting. All right. I'm sure Boston Baby will be very much in demand and will become a blockbuster. Okay, so before I let you go, I want to share my learnings from the show. There has been many golden nuggets that were dropped in by you, Rachel,
Thank you.
um, and probably it is so many that it will take me a lot of time. But I'll be brief. The first one was realize your own worth.
Mhm,
Sometimes the work that you think you are doing and that you think is easy
mhm,
could be a very critical skill for someone else.
mm,
That would be very, very difficult for others to do. So don't underestimate yourself, realize your self worth. Um, the second was the reverse engineering. So the process that Rachel applies in her coaching is making sure that you have that inside out approach rather than outside in approach. So reverse engineering is basically to know about your values, what you like, what motivates you, what drives you, and then go for that next level, which is the kind of work, kind of company that you want to work with. Another aspect that you mentioned is about building your internal win resume. Now, internal win resume is not something that probably you will put it on Monster Dice or Career Builder, but it is for your own self to boost your own self confidence to all the great things that you have done in your career. Mention every tiny, miny things. And if you are not able to remember for whatever reason, call any colleague of yours who have worked with you in that organization or in that team. Maybe they will tell you things that probably you may be missing. So build that internal resume, visualize your typical day, visualize how your good days will look like, and what will be the working in a company that really connects with you, that really challenge you as well as make you look good, make you look bright. So visualize it. Another aspect that you mentioned was about dinner party conversation. What are the conversation that attracts you more? And on that note, when I used to do my training with recruiters, Rachel, we used to train them in having that small talk conversation with our candidates. And one of the thing I used to share with them is uh, go through those newspaper, what is going on in today's scenario. Maybe it could be sports. We definitely you don't want to talk about politics, but in a sports, in any movies, anything which is more interesting. So if our recruiters are aware of these conversations or these news, they can have that conversation. So similarly, dinner party conversation.
Hmm.
What are those conversations that you naturally get attracted? Be aware of that. Um, another, so there are two more things. One, I think Rachel mentioned about a book called Meaningful Work and how you can really focus on those themes. So the themes of winning every time is three C's. Rachel was mentioning. One was communicate, contribute, and challenge. Uh, Rachel, is that right? Is it the
Communicate.
three
Oh wait, it's community, contribution, and
community?
challenge.
Okay, sorry. Community contribution and challenge. When I was writing, I just wrote the half, so it was so community, confidence, and challenge. That's the three C's. Very very important to really know your worth and have a meaningful work. And finally, it is about the good hard. So
Hmm.
hard work is just not just working hard. It's a good hard, and as she was mentioning, is maybe it could be workout. So when the heart is good, it really makes you live stronger. And we are just watching currently the show on Netflix. I think it's Fast Five, something. It is related to basketball, and we are just on the third episode. And what I have learned there is it's all about the body. How much you are taking care of your body really makes an impact on how good NBA player you will be. So it is all about the
Mm.
NBA players, all the famous NBA players, Jason Tatum, LeBron James, uh, Jimmy
Steph
Butler,
Curry.
and there are two more. Yeah, Steph Curry. So Steph is not on this series, but yes, there are five people, and they're all talking about how they are taking care of their body. So, a good
Oh
heart is
my
also
gosh,
taking care
the
of the
body is the
body.
temple. The body is the temple.
Right, right. Well, that was some of the great learnings that I had from the show. Now it is your time to mention your learnings on the comments. If you're listening to us on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, put it in comments. Or if you're watching us on YouTube, put it in the comments on YouTube. Or when we share our episode on LinkedIn or social media platform, you can put it in comments as well. Thank you again, Rachel, for being on our show and sharing the wisdom that you have. I'm very confident that our listeners will be reaching out to you for their high stakes career audit. Thank
Thank you
you
so
once
much
again.
for having me. Thank you.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.